Have you ever, like, scrolled through your feed and thought, is everyone selling something these days?
Right.
It's like social media has become the place to be for business,
Totally.
especially for network marketers, and that's what we're diving into today.
Yeah.
We're taking on The Network Marketer's Guide to Leveraging Social Media for Explosive Growth by Daria Jackson Ligonier.
Which, let me tell you, is a mouthful, but it's a really interesting book.
It is, and we're going to break down all her kind of juicy tips for using social media to build your brand and to build your business. You ready to unlock that explosive growth?
I am. Let's do it.
All right. So Daria starts by emphasizing something that seems kind of obvious, but is often overlooked.
Yeah.
Understanding your target audience.
Right. And it's like you wouldn't use the same sales pitch on someone who's like just starting to work out as you would on like a marathon runner. Right. You've got to tailor your message to actually resonate.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
You need to know who your ideal customer is and speak directly to them.
Yeah, and that's where her advice on crafting these audience personas is so helpful.
And you've probably heard of personas before.
Right.
But she takes it a step further.
Yeah, it's not just about their demographics. It's about understanding like their pain points, their aspirations, even like their hobbies and stuff. It's really interesting.
So you're like really getting inside their head.
Yeah.
Okay, so once you know who you're talking to, Daria says the next step is figuring out where to find them, which means choosing the right social media platforms for you.
Yeah, and it can be like tempting to be on all of them at once.
Oh, yeah.
But as she points out, it's more about quality over quantity.
So being strategic, focusing on where your ideal customer is actually hanging out.
Exactly.
She breaks down all the major players, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Pinterest, YouTube. Like she covers everything.
Everything.
So like if you're selling something visually appealing, Instagram or Pinterest would be your go-to. If you're targeting professionals, LinkedIn is where it's at.
Precisely.
And she really encourages people to, not spread yourself too thin trying to be everywhere at once.
Right. Yeah. Start with one or two that really align with your goals, and then you can kind of go from there.
And speaking of reaching those goals, this is where it gets really interesting for me. Because she talks about the importance of building a strong personal brand, which I think is so important in this day and age.
It's huge. And it's interesting because it's almost like people aren't just buying a product online. They're buying you.
It's like building that know, like, and trust factor, but like online.
Exactly.
So how do you do that? How do you build that trust?
Well, she says you have to let your personality shine through. Let people see the real you.
Okay, so you're sharing your story.
Yes.
What makes you unique?
Yeah, and like she actually tells this great story in the book. I think it was about a woman who was struggling to grow her business, and she was like posting all the right things, but it wasn't really working for her. And then she decided to share a personal story about why she started her business, and her engagement skyrocketed.
Wow.
Because people connected with her story, they saw her authenticity, and then her business took off.
It's a good reminder that people want to connect with the human behind the brand.
Yeah. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable, Share your struggles.
I love that. Welcome back to The Deep Dive, where we're talking all things social media for network marketers.
And hopefully helping you unlock that explosive growth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we talked about, understanding your audience, building your personal brand.
Right.
Now it's time to talk content, which can feel kind of overwhelming.
It can.
Because it's like, what am I going to post every single day?
Yeah, but you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time.
Okay, phew.
Daria actually suggests a really great balance between creating original content and then curating valuable insights from other people.
Okay, so you're saying, like, share a post from an industry leader, but then add your own take on it.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not just like you're, copying and pasting.
No, it's more like you're a DJ.
Oh, I like that.
They're curating the best kind of tunes.
So fun. Okay, so original content, curated content.
Yeah.
What about storytelling? Because I feel like stories are so powerful, especially when it comes to like selling a product or an opportunity, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's way more compelling to hear a story about how a product transformed someone's life.
It's so much more interesting than just being like, here are the benefits.
Yeah, nobody wants to hear that.
Right. Like, tell me a story. Tell me how this, face cream changed your life.
Exactly. And you know what? You already have those stories inside of you.
Yeah, that's true. We all do.
Think about your own journey, why you joined this business, the challenges you've overcome, the success you've had.
Right, and share those.
Those are the stories that people really connect with.
Because it shows your vulnerability.
Yeah.
Like, it makes you a real person.
Exactly. And she also says, don't be afraid to experiment with different formats. You can do graphics, you can do videos.
Especially video, right? Like that's huge these days.
Video is everything. And don't forget about things that are interactive, like polls.
Oh yeah, people love a good poll.
People love polls.
Keep it fun, you know?
Exactly. Make it fun.
Okay, so we're creating all this great content, but now how do we make sure people actually see it? Because it's easy for things to get lost in the black hole of the internet.
Oh, 100%. And that is where engagement comes in. And this is something that I think she really nailed in the book, this whole idea of building a community around your brand.
Because it's not just about broadcasting your message. It's about like a two-way conversation, right?
Yeah.
Like you're engaging, you're commenting.
Responding to comments, asking questions,
Asking questions.
having that dialogue.
It's like you're throwing a party online.
Yes.
You want people to be excited to show up.
Exactly.
Right.
And when they feel like they belong, they're more likely to actually, engage and then buy from you.
Become loyal customers,
Yeah, exactly.
brand ambassadors.
And she gives a bunch of examples in there, like you can do contests.
Ooh, contests are good.
You can do polls. I mean, we all love a good poll.
Yes.
You can create a challenge, use a hashtag. All those things can boost your engagement.
I love all of that. But I'm going to be honest, thinking about managing all of this, across different platforms makes me a little anxious.
It's a lot.
So how do we make it all work?
Well, she talks about this too. It's all about automation.
Okay, this is what I wanted to hear.
Yeah, there are tools out there.
Because if I have to do this all manually, it's not going to happen.
It's not. But, there are tools that can help you schedule posts.
Okay.
You can track engagement. You can analyze what's working, what's not.
So it's like having a personal assistant
Yes.
for your social media.
Yes, exactly.
That's amazing.
But you do make a really good point, and she stresses this too. It's super important to find that balance, right?
Right.
Because you don't want to lose that human touch. People don't want to feel like they're talking to a robot.
Right. It's about working smarter, not harder.
Exactly.
But still showing up authentically.
Exactly. That is the perfect way to put it.
So you can use the tools to schedule those posts, but then be present to respond to the comments.
Yeah, engage with the people.
Engage with the people.
Don't just set it and forget it.
Okay, good to know.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground here,
We have.
but there's one more kind of crucial element that we need to talk about.
And what is that?
It's all about measuring your success,
Okay, measuring your success.
which is so important, and it's not just about looking at vanity metrics.
Okay, so not just follower count.
Not just follower count, because those don't pay the bills, do they?
I don't pay the bills.
She talks about really tracking the data that matters. It's like if you're sailing a ship without a compass,
Okay,
you're moving, but are you going in the right direction?
I love that analogy. Okay, so data is our compass.
Exactly.
So what kind of data are we talking about?
Well, she talks about looking at engagement rates, so how many people are actually liking your posts,
Yeah,
commenting, sharing, all of that.
because a like is nice, but a comment shows they're really feeling it.
Right. Yeah. A comment is a much bigger deal.
So engagement's important.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
Click-through rates. So how many people are actually clicking on those links in your bio, in your posts?
Yeah, are they actually going to your website?
Yeah. Are they interested enough to learn more?
Okay, that makes sense.
And then, of course, ultimately, conversion rates. So how many of those clicks are actually turning into sales?
Right, because that's the name of the game, right?
Exactly. That's what we want. And luckily, all the platforms, they have these great analytics dashboards.
Oh, good.
So you don't have to be a data scientist to figure it out.
Perfect, because I am not.
But she walks you through kind of what to look for and then, more importantly, what to do with all of that information.
Okay, so it's not just about, looking at a bunch of numbers.
Yeah, no.
It's about, actually taking action.
She calls it data-driven decision-making, which sounds kind of fancy,
It does sound fancy, but it makes sense.
but it makes a lot of sense.
Like you see what's working and you do more of that.
Exactly. If something's not working, try something else.
It's like you're a scientist in the lab,
You got it. You're experimenting.
social media scientist. Okay, so we're creating amazing content, we're engaging, we're tracking our results. Is there anything else?
Oh my gosh, yes. Because, as you know, this world is constantly changing.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
What works today might not work tomorrow.
Algorithms.
Yeah. Algorithms are constantly changing.
It's like every time I figure it out, it changes on me.
Oh, I know. It can be so frustrating. But luckily, she talks about this in the book too, how to stay ahead of the curve.
Okay, good, because I need all the help I can get.
And the first thing she says is you have to understand how those algorithms work.
Yeah, because if you don't understand it, you can't work it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then once you get that, she gives you all these kind of tips to optimize your content.
Okay, give me the tips.
Well, one thing is consistency is key. Like the algorithm, it loves when you're posting regularly, you're engaging.
It's like you're showing up.
Yes, you have to show up.
Every day.
You can't just like pop in every once in a while and expect things to,
It's like a relationship.
It is. You got to nurture it.
You got to nurture your audience. Okay, so consistency.
And then she also talks a lot about using relevant keywords and hashtags.
Yes, this is important.
Because that's how those algorithms know what your content's about, who to show it to.
So this is where, like, knowing your audience comes back into play.
Exactly. You got it.
It all connects.
It does. But sometimes, I get it, it feels like those algorithms are working against us.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, why is my engagement down?
Why is nobody seeing this?
But she reminds us that it's designed to actually show people content that they actually want to see.
Okay.
So it's not about trying to trick the algorithm. It's about creating content that people genuinely connect with.
Okay, so high-quality content provides value.
Exactly.
Engaging.
Yes. And when people like it, they're going to engage with it.
Which the algorithm likes.
Which the algorithm likes.
Okay, so everybody wins.
Everybody win.
Okay, I like that. So we're creating great content, we're consistent, we're using hashtags. What else can we do to work with the algorithm?
Well, she has one final tip that I think is great, and that's embracing the power of video.
Video. Okay,
Yeah.
so like actually getting on camera,
On camera, yes.
talking to people.
Because right now, video is king.
Video is king. Okay, that's good advice, but it's also kind of scary.
I know, it can be intimidating.
So for people who are like terrified to get on camera, what would you say?
I would say just go for it. Like the first few times you do it are going to be a little awkward, probably.
Yeah.
But the more you do it, the easier it gets.
Practice makes progress.
Exactly.
Okay, so don't be afraid to experiment with video, and don't be afraid if it's not perfect.
It doesn't have to be perfect.
Right.
It just has to be you.
Be authentic.
Exactly.
And we are back for the final part of our deep dive into Daria's book.
We're going out with a bang.
Yes. So we've covered a lot of ground, but it's a lot to think about.
It is.
So what does she suggest for like long-term social media success?
Well, she says it's about having a strategy that can, weather any storm.
Okay.
Because this landscape is constantly changing, right?
Oh, yeah, always.
Platforms evolve, trends come and go.
Algorithms.
Don't even get me started on algorithms.
Right. It's like every time I think I've figured it out,
Totally.
it changes again.
Tell me about it. But one thing that she really emphasizes is creating what she calls evergreen content. Have you heard of that?
I have heard of evergreen content. So explain it, though, for the people in the back who haven't heard that term.
So basically, it's like, think about those classic songs that never get old no matter what.
Okay.
They just keep playing.
They're always good.
Always good.
Timeless.
Right. Timeless content.
So, like, what does that